of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scripture in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as to be an imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritual activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the class this morning?
Hare Krishna
Vardhana Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Akstat from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shiv Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji, Dandvat Pranam to Guru and all.
I'm from Haridwar. Dandvat Pranam to all temple devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I feel blessed to when I joined this group, and I am very much thankful to all devotees, especially Sundari Devi Mataji, who inspired me to join this devotional group. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Puja Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. We are so fortunate to have you in our class, Mataji, in this group. Thank you so much for joining every day, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Dandvat Pranam to you and all Vishnu.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna. Jai Nashinga.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Valli from Naperville, Chicago.
Hare Krishna Valli Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, all glories Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Rana.
Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the devotees. This is Sushmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna Shushmita Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Is anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji. This is Kaumudiki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Kamadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Welcoming all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji is going to enlighten us on this topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 25, verse 1. Before going to the class, I will hand over the call to Sureshwar Shyam Prabhuji to give brief introduction of His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please take out the call, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So here is a brief introduction about Prabhuji. His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Indradunya Swami Maharaj, and Prabhuji is an international speaker. Prabhuji has been associated with ISKCON for last 24 years. He has a deep penchant in rendering lectures from the Vaishnava Vedic text. Prabhuji is a public speaker on various topics of Sanatana Dharma through the lens of disciplic succession of Brahma, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya. He has delivered his lectures in English, Hindi, Tamil, and Malayalam across Dubai, Australia, USA, and India. He speaks extensively on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Valmiki Ramayana, and other Gaudiya literatures. Prabhuji has a graduation degree in electronics and communication and an MBA from Symbiosis. Hare Krishna Mataji, this is a brief introduction of Prabhuji. Back to you, Mataji. Hare.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All goes to Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association to us on this morning, Prabhuji, and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I'll hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. Am I very clearly audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. First and foremost, thank you so much, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Shamagauri Mataji, Sureshwar Shyam Prabhu, for kindly inviting me to speak again amongst one of my favorite set of devotees assembled from world over, which is the Bhakti Sangha Japa Group. I consider myself extremely fortunate to share the snippets of Srimad Bhagavatam from the lens of Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So this is an extremely great fortune of mine. So I'm very, very grateful to all the devotees who have taken out their time today to hear from Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam. Before we start, we would say the Mangalacharan, and after Mangalacharan, we would straight away enter into today's topic, which is very, very wonderful, and it has got a very deep meaning in this today's verse. Of course, every single verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is a gold mine, having many million mines inside them. But today we will try with our limited intelligence, with my limited intelligence, to see the different aspects of today's verse. So without further ado, let's start with the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं वन्दतो। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्प्रसादमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome back to the Bhakti Sangha Japa Group's Srimad Bhagavatam session. I'll be sharing my screen today. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can somebody confirm if they can see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Yes, okay. So today's canto is number 5, called as the Creative Impetus, chapter 25, verse number 1. It's in the prose form, it's not in the, it's in the Gadya, it's not in the singing form, though we will see in today's lecture or in the sequence of lectures, Narada is expert in singing paragraphs also as verses. So there is a verse in this chapter itself that how he starts to sing about the glories of Lord Anantha. So let's see the today's verse. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tasya Mula Deshe Trimsha Yojana Sahasarantara Aste Ashya Vaikala Bhagavatas Tamasi Samakhyata Ananta Iti Satvatiya Drashtir Drishyayoho Sankarshananam Aham Iti Abhimana Lakshanam Yam Sankarshanam Iti Achakshate. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, "My dear king, approximately 240,000 miles beneath the planet Patala, Patala is the lowermost planet, lives another incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the expansion of Lord Vishnu, known as Lord Anantha or Lord Sankarshana. He is always in the transcendental position, but because he is worshipped by Lord Shiva, the deity of Tamoguna or darkness, he is sometimes called as Tamasi. Lord Anantha is the predominating deity of the material mode of ignorance as well as the false ego of all conditioned souls. When a conditioned living being thinks, I am the enjoyer and this world is meant to be enjoyed by me, this conception of life is dictated to him by Sankarshana. Thus, the mundane conditioned soul thinks himself to be the Supreme Lord. Now, if we read the purport, there is a small purport as well. Let's just read. This is the 5th verse. Let's just go to the 1st verse and read the purport. Okay. It's a small purport. There is a class of men akin to Mayavadi philosophers who interpret the Aham Brahmasmi and so Vedic mantras to mean I am the Supreme Brahman and I am identical with the Lord. This kind of false conception in which one thinks himself to be the supreme enjoyer is kind of illusion. It is described elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Verse number 8, Janasya moho yam aham mameti. As explained in the above verse, Lord Sankarsana is the predominating deity of this false conception. Krishna confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattas smatirnyanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart as Sankarshana. And when a demon thinks himself one with the Supreme Lord, the Lord keeps him in that darkness. Although such a demoniac living entity is only an insignificant part of the Supreme Lord, he forgets his true position and thinks he is the Supreme Lord because this forgetfulness is created by Sankarshana. He is sometimes called as Tamasi. The name Tamasi does not indicate that he has a material body. He is always transcendental. But because he is the super soul of Lord Shiva, who must perform tamasic activities, Sankarshana is sometimes called Tamasi. Hare Krishna. So this is a very deep subject matter which Srila Prabhupada is introducing. In one of the books of His Holiness Srila Gaura Govinda Swami Maharaj, in his preface of the book, he writes, everything is in Srila Prabhupada's books. And he also writes this point that the purports and the translations of Srila Prabhupada holds all details of Vedic philosophy. However, Srila Gaura Govinda Swami Maharaj says that this knowledge is available in a very seed form. It is up to us to go deeper and deeper and deeper and unpeel these seed forms of knowledge. This is a very nice realization. Because every purport of Srila Prabhupada, when we dive into them and try to go into Shastras and try to see in a more deeper form, we get to see the beautiful realizations of devotees. So today, the verse here, Shukadeva Goswami is explaining about Anantha Dev, or as in the picture you can see, Anantha. We also call him as Adishesha or Ananta Shesha. So he is introducing this chapter, where the chapter's name is called as Glories of Lord Anantha. And this is the first verse where the residence of Anantha is being spoken. Where is he residing? 240,000 miles below the lowest planet of the 7 planetary systems, which is Patala. Atala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. So like this, the 7 planetary systems below Earth, the nether regions, sometimes also called as the Bilva Swarga. The lowest planet is Patala. And we have learned in cosmic Vedic cosmology that the lower planetary systems are generally inhabited by the Nagas, by the snakes, who have snakes but human kind of bodies, and they have snake-like bodies as well. So this is existing in the lower planetary systems, and below the lowest planet, 240,000 miles below, is none other than the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Anantha. He is the expansion or incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And Srila Prabhupada mentions here that Sukadeva Goswami says he is also called as Sankarshana. Now, we have to understand this word very, very clearly. Of course, in the 10th canto, we learn more about this word called Sankarshana. And where do we learn it? When Krishna and Balaram are being named in Nand Maharaj's cowshed, or in the barn, or in the cottage where the cows are kept. There, the name of Balaram is given by none other than Gargacharya as Sankarshana. So Balram's name also he called Sankarshana because, and then the Acharya says there are many meanings of this term Sankarshana because he will attract the minds of all the Vrishnis of the Yadu dynasty. So Sankarshana, he will Akarshan, Sarva Akarshan of all the Vrishni dynasty people. So he is called as Sankarshan. He will be also attracted from the womb of Devaki to Rohinyastanaya Prokto Rama Sankarshana Swaya Devakya Garbha Sambandha Kuto Dehantaram Vina, says Srimad Bhagavatam. Devakya Garbha Sambandha Kuto Dehantaram Vina. He will be attracted from one womb to another, again Akarshan, Sankarshan, because he will be in the womb of Rohini. He is also known as Rohini Nandan, Balaram. So we learn about so many meanings of Sankarshan in the 10th canto. But now we are in the 5th canto. In the 5th canto, Anantha is also called as Sankarshan. Here Srila Prabhupada mentions it. And why is he called Sankarshan? The reason is also very wonderfully given. In fact, Jiva Goswami in his Krama Sandarbha, he very beautifully explains this verse. He mentions that why Anantha is called as Sankarshan. Because he, in his transcendental position, he is supposed to attract the enjoyer and the enjoyed. Now, please understand this. The first 5-10 minutes of the lecture will be very heavy because that is when everybody is attentive. And afterwards, it will delve into Katha. So, Katha becomes very easy. So, the first 5-10 minutes only, it will be little of Tattva. So, let us try to understand that. Sankarshana, what he does is, he tries to bring together the two personalities of enjoyer and the enjoyed. In this case, in his transcendental position, he is doing this service. Who is the enjoyer? None other than Krishna or Vishnu. He is the transcendental enjoyer, and everybody else are to be enjoyed by him. So how does he bring the enjoyer and the enjoyed together? By narrating Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam class is the perfect connection between the enjoyer and the enjoyed. We as spirit souls who are to be enjoyed as the objects of enjoyment hear the glories about the supreme enjoyer, Krishna. And who gives this mechanism? Anantha. For time immemorial, with his millions and millions of heads, which are as foods, with millions and millions of tongues, he is constantly speaking the glories of the Lord. Until now, he has not finished. His Bhagavatam class does not end in 1 hour. It keeps going on and on and on, and still he has not finished describing the glories. Okay, he is speaking Bhagavatam, but who is hearing this Bhagavatam? The Sanat Kumaras are sitting and hearing this Bhagavatam, says the Shastric studies. So beautifully he is explaining the various qualities of the Lord, and the devotees are getting engaged. Now here comes the other side. What if this doesn't happen? There is an independent freedom for the Jiva to not follow in the path of devotional service and to follow his own independence and turn away from the Lord. This quality is opposite to what Anantha or Sankarshan is doing. Sankarshan wants to bring everybody together, but there are times when Jivas say, I don't want to be in Krishna consciousness. I don't want to go towards Krishna. I don't want to turn the other cheek towards religion. I don't want to be pious. I want to live the life in my way. Now, when a spirit soul does that, then the spirit soul falls into illusion. And this, because is opposite of Sankarshan's function, this function of falling into the illusion and continuing to think in this matter, in this manner, which is called as false ego, is also the function of Sankarshan. This is what the verse is saying. So Sankarshan's primary transcendental duty is to speak Srimad Bhagavatam, take care of the Lord and provide unlimited amount of service and bring the enjoyer and the enjoyed together. But if there is a spirit soul who says, I don't want to do this, I want to go away from Krishna, then that person is in false ego. What does false ego mean? False ego means we think we are the enjoyer, everybody should give me enjoyment. This false ego is called as illusion or ignorance, which is called as tamas. And the predominating deity who is supposed to proliferate ignorance is Lord Shiva. And because this illusion is being brought by Sankarshan, Lord Shiva always meditates upon Sankarshan. So there are 4 or 5 points here that we have to very clearly understand. Anantha resides 240,000 miles below Patala. He supports the entire cosmic manifestation on his hoods, and he is the one who brings the enjoyer and enjoyed by speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. But for those who go away from the narrations of Bhagavatam, those who turn the other cheek, he puts them under illusion or ignorance. Hence, sometimes he is addressed as Tamasi. And because this quality is supposed to be always proliferated in the material world as a service, this is given to Lord Shiva. He becomes the super soul of Lord Shiva, and he is always being meditated upon by Lord Shiva. This is today's verse, glorifying Anantha. But today we will learn that who is this particular personality called as Anantadev. He is known as in many different ways. Of course, the famous saying is there, Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant. The Lord is infinite in nature, and the Lord's stories are infinite, spoken by the infinite million hoods of Anantha. There are different names by which we call him. Like Anantha is also the Lord, so he is called Anantadev. He is called as Adi Shesha. We will learn about this word called Shesha in detail. What does it mean? Does it mean a serpent or does it mean something else? We will learn today. Adi Shesha, in the southern part of India, he is called as Adi Shesha, the first serpent. Adi Shesh, the first servant. He is also the king of the snakes. He is called Nagaraja. He is also the king of many kings. He is called Sarvaraja. Sometimes he is called as the king of snakes. He is called Sarparaja. He is also called in the Devanagari scriptures as Sheshnag. He is called as the Adi Sarpa. He is called as the Lord of the foods, Fanishwaraha. And the final one, Dharani Dharaha. That means on top of his food are Dharani or Dharti Mata. But don't think that he has a very giant bubble of earth on top of his head. Srimad Bhagavatam says it is like a white mustard seed on top of his entire food. It is so small and insignificant. But we think in this world, the entire cosmic manifestation is on his food, which is like a mustard seed. But when we think we are so great, we can do so many things. And this conception is brought by Sankarshan or Lord Anantadev. So he has a Gayatri mantra. Of course, I will not chant the Gayatri with the root because I'm not chanting this mantra, but just giving you a rough translation. Sarparajaya vidmahe Nagarajaya dhimahi tanno Ananta prachodayat. I meditate upon Ananta, the king of Nagas and snakes, who is called as Ananta, who is infinite, who cannot be measured, Why? Because his glories are infinite. He describes about the qualities of the Lord, which is infinite in nature. So this is also very famous as Anantha Gayatri. And he came in different yugas to assist the Lord. So this is my first question to all you devotees. How did he come for Satyuga? Where did he assist? Any answers on chat? Did he come in Satyuga and assist the Lord? Where did he come? Did he come in Satyuga? Anantha? Which are the incarnations in Satyuga? Anybody? The Lord's incarnations in Satyuga?
Shri Ram? Lakshman?
That is in Treta Yuga as Lakshman. Satyuga, the golden age.
As Matsya Avatara, Lord came as Matsya Avatara. Sat Munis are there.
Yes, he came as Matsya in Satyam. He also Varaha, as our Lord Varaha, he came. And if you go to Chennai, if you go to a temple near Mahabalipuram, there is a temple called as Tirupudandai. I do not know how many of you know, but those who are avid travelers to Bharata Desha, they should go to these wonderful temples. You will see a 14 feet Lord Varaha. And this beautiful temple of Lord Varaha is Bhu Varaha. He is taking Mother Earth, but he wants to keep a step. And that step he keeps on Anantha. So sometimes Satyuga is also Varaha. He comes as that. Treta, he comes as Lakshman. Dwapara, very easy. Balaram, very nice. Kali Yuga, tough one, huh?
Nityananda.
Nitai, yes, we can say. Balarama, Koilo, Nitai. So Nityananda, same. But very prominently declared as whom he comes.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no. He's the Lord himself. This is, we are talking about. Yes, absolutely. He also comes as Ramanujacharya. Also, he is Nitai or Balarama Koilo Nitai. So very correct. So this is how he comes as Ramanujacharya. He came to establish very clearly the Vishishta Advaita philosophy which the Sri Vaishnavas follow, and very near Melkotai, the place where Ramanujacharya himself put a small screen and defeated all the Jainists who were propagating Jain philosophy, and behind the wheel he was debating with them, and suddenly they could see a shadow on the other side where he became Anantha Shesh, and with millions of heads he was answering their tarka or debate. So in this way Ramanujacharya showed that he is none other than Anantha, Lord Anantha. Very beautiful pastime where we see. So in this way, he also assists every avatar that comes and he takes part in his activities. But Ramanujacharya, because he is the perfect person, he explained in a very beautiful way what is the meaning of this statement called as Shesha. And we need to understand what's the difference between Shesha and Sheshi. Shesha, he says, Paragata Atishaya Adhana Ichchaya Upadeyatmamaeva Yasya Swarupam Sashesha Parasheshi. Ramanujacharya says, Shesha means what is left out. Ye Shesh Bhag hai. Like this is left out. But what is left out? One who is existing solely for the purpose of being used to another. So there is a person, to help this person 24/7, to always ensure that this personality is taken care of and always be of helpful nature to this personality. If there is someone, that person is called as Shesha. And who is Sheshi? Who exists always to give or accept service. So in this case, Can my dear devotees tell me, who is that person who is always there with the Lord, who is always ready to render service to the Lord? As Mahavishnu in the Vaikuntha, who is there always as his umbrella, as his pillow, as his bed, as his sofa, as his footstool?
Anantha Shesha.
So Anantha Shesh, the one who always gives him services in millions and millions of ways.
He's his bed, he's his shoes, he's everything.
Yes, he's his bed, he's his shoes, very nice. So he's every way, he is his umbrella, he serves the Lord in all possible ways. Hence he is called as Anantha Shesha. And one who is actually residing on Ananta, who accepts all this service. Who is that personality? Who accepts the service?
Lord.
Krishna, the Lord himself.
Lord Vishnu.
He is called Sheshi. That is why in Vrindavan, if you go, there is a place called Shesha Shai. That means one who is lying on Shesha. And that place is very important because a lot of devotees went with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur on a Brajmandal Parikram. And it was very far off because Sheshashai is a very little far off place. You have to go very inwards and it's a small village of 20-30 village town people. But very beautiful Sheshashai temple that you can see in Vrindavan. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I am going to give a big lecture, not go to that temple. Those who want to listen to my lecture can sit here and listen. But half of them, they thought, who will sit here and listen to lecture? Let's go and see the Lord. So they went. But His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada chose to sit and listen to his Guru Maharaj's lecture. And because of that, later, when the initiation ceremony came up, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I will give initiation to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada because he did not go for an eye exercise. He is interested in sitting and listening. So when devotees asked, what do you mean? Then His Holiness Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj said, everybody who went to the Sheshashai temple just did an eye exercise of seeing the Lord. But the real exercise is to listen from the 2 ears and see from the 2 ears. We hear about the Lord and we see the Lord through our ears. And Srila Prabhupada was always having this interest to hear about the Lord. So this is the quality. So this Sheshashai, this is that great temple which Prabhupada said, I'm not going to go, I'm going to sit and hear to my Guru Maharaj. But if you get a chance, please do go. It is in the Vrajmandal Parikram. It's a very beautiful temple where you can see the Lord reclining like this on top of the Shesha. So let's go ahead. Sometimes in the scriptures, Anantha is called as 5-headed. He's shown as 7-headed. In this you can see he's shown as 7-headed. Sometimes he's shown as 1,000-headed, but he has millions and millions of hoods and he bears Mother Earth. So if somebody goes and looks at his social security number and his Aadhaar card, his mother's name is Kadru, his father's name is Kashyapa, his aunt is Vinata. That means, who is the son of Vinata? Garuda is the son, so that's why he becomes his cousin. Of course, he has many siblings from Kadru because Kadru had 1,000 snakes. Like Vasuki, Takshaka, Kaliya, etc. are his siblings. Now there is a famous narration of how he became one of the servants of Lord himself. We all know the story of Vinata and Kadru. For those who don't know, I'll keep it very short. There were 2 sisters of Daksha Prajapati, Kadru and Vinata, who were married off to Kashyapa. Both wanted sons from Kashyapa. So Kashyapa asked Kadru first, how many sons and daughters you want? She said, I want 100 snakes, powerful snakes. And then she asked Vinata. Vinata said, I just want 2, but who will be better than Kadru? So when you actually compare and contrast, this jealousiness comes. So Kadru became very jealous of Vinata. So she always thought, somehow I have to make this Vinata my slave. So one day while they were going, they saw this Uchirshava. Uchirshava is a great flying horse, white horse. It's a unicorn which came from the Samudra Manthan, from the churning of the ocean. And when they were seeing this horse, they were finding it very beautiful. So Kadru, just to take an opportunity, she told Vinata, do you see the hair of the tail of this Uchirshava, this horse, this white horse is black in color. But actually it was not black, it was pure white. Vinata said, no, it is not black in color, it is white. She said, no, let's keep a bet. If it is black, then you have to serve me for 500 years. Vinata said, impossible that it is black, I take the bet. So the next day, Kadru ordered all the 100 snakes which were pitch black in color. She ordered that you have to help me and go and tie yourself on the tail of this horse. So you see, all the snakes went and tied itself on the tail of the horse, Uchirshava. So the next day when Vinata saw this, she was shocked. She saw that the tail of, and she was seeing it from far, so she couldn't understand these were snakes. So she said, oh, I lost the bet. And then Kadru made Vinata a slave for 500 years. And when Vinata was serving like this, her second son, Garuda, was born. And later the story goes that how Garuda removed the curse or removed the burden of Vinata. But the story is not about Garuda or the story is not about Kadru. The story is about Anantha. Of the 100 sons of Kadru, when Anantha heard that you have to cheat and make Vinata a slave, he said, I am not going to do it. I will not take part in this crime. And then Kadru said, you have to go away then. Then Anantha went away and did a lot of penance. According to Vayu Samhita, he did a penance and Brahma gave him the boon that you will always serve the Lord. But what is interesting to see is in Lord Vishnu's planet, both the opposite animals stay. There is snake and there is eagle. Who is the eagle? Garuda. Naturally, Garuda's food are snakes. That's what he asked from Indra. Please give me a boon that snakes should be my staple diet. And Indra gave it. But in Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha, there is such a good friendship. While Anantha is glorifying the Lord, Garuda is constantly thinking of also glorifying the Lord, of also serving the Lord. This is how Vaikuntha is. Competition is to serve the Lord, but both of them, even adversaries, seemingly adversaries by nature, come together to serve the Lord. Garuda is also equivalently powerful. His one feather can pick up the entire cosmic manifestation. Similarly, Anantha is also very powerful, that on the tip of his hood can have millions and millions of cosmic manifestations. So this is how Anantha never participated in wrongdoings and he always stood for the right side. And this is how he is exhibiting this quality of not false ego, which is the verse today. He is showcasing that one should not become the enjoyer like how Kadru wanted. She wanted to enjoy over Vinata. So from young age itself, Anantha was showcasing this quality that we are the servants of the Lord. We have to serve the Lord and we are not the enjoyers. He was not coming under illusion. He went against his mother and he said, I am not going to serve your purpose. In this way, that is the reason why he was given this job of putting others into illusion. Sometimes if we are in illusion, we should understand Sankarshana is dictating it. Because of our minute independence, we want to be demoniac in nature, then Sankarshana allows that particular quality because he is the one controlling this false ego. So this pastime very wonderfully talks about Anantha's glories of not taking part in the larger plan of making Vinata her slave. Nevertheless, there is another beautiful pastime which we will see today, which is him exhibiting the role of in Treta Yuga. In the picture, who is Anantha here? Can anyone guess?
Lakshman.
Lakshman. Absolutely correct. He comes as Lakshmana and he serves Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita extensively throughout Ramayana. Where can we see about this? In fact, there is a very beautiful verse in the Valmiki Ramayana where Lakshmana is given an instruction, and this instruction is given by his mother, Sumitra. Sumitra is one of the wives of Dasharatha. Dasharatha had many wives, but the principal wives were Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. So that's why Lakshmana is sometimes also called, Anantha, who is Lakshmana, is also called Saumitre. That means he is the son of Sumitra. So Sumitra gave a very beautiful verse. Her verses in Ramayana are very, very little, but she is a very intelligent soul. How do we know that Sumitra is intelligent? How do we know the mother of Lakshmana is very intelligent? Valmiki says, when the nectar was being divided, he anuchintaya, he thought about it quite a bit. And he gave Mahipati, the great Sumitra, he gave it the nectar, the Kshira again, the Kheer again to Sumitra because she was a great intelligent personality. So Valmiki calls her very intelligent and she shows her intelligence by narrating this shloka. When is this shloka spoken? This is when Rama has been told that you are banished to the forest and he is going to go to the forest. He requested Sita to stay back, but Sita is an expert lawyer. She said, I am going to come. He requested Lakshmana. He said, nothing doing. Wherever you are, I am going to come. And in this way, to assist Lord Ramchandra, he started to go in exile. And just before they left the kingdom of Ayodhya, they went to see their mothers one more time. And after meeting Kausalya, when Lakshmana met his mother, Sumitra, she said this word, Ramam Dasharatam Vidhi, Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam, Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi, Gachatata Yatha Sukham. She says here in a very beautiful way that Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. Please understand, my son, Lord Ramchandra, you should now see him as Dasharatha. See Lord Ramchandra as Dasharatha. Mam Vidhi Janaka Atmajam. Atma means one soul. Janaka Atmajam, the soul of Janak Maharaj. Who is the soul of Janak Maharaj? Who is the most favorite of Janak Maharaj? Whom is she mentioning about?
Rama.
Janaka. We are talking about Janaka.
Sita Devi.
Sita Devi.
Janaki.
Absolutely good. Janaki. The Sita Devi is the heart and soul of King Janaka. So he's saying, you see Rama as Dasharatha, me, your mother, as Sita Devi. And this Ayodhya Vasis, you have to serve them also. Because there are many in number. See the forest, Atavim. Atavim means forest, as none other than Ayodhya. Gaccha Thata Yata Sukham. Please go, my son, and be always happy. What a wonderful verse spoken by Sumitra, where she is instructing the personality who is always interested to serve, the mother of Shesha, who is interested to serve, reminding him that you have to serve. So let's look at the meaning. The meaning says, what is the meaning? Know Rama to be Dasharatha. Look upon Sita, the daughter of Janaka, as myself. Consider the forest of Ayodhya. Consider the forest as Ayodhya and depart happily, my son. Gacchathata yatha sukham. But my dear devotees, Valmiki's Ramayana is not so plaintive that you can actually read the shloka and understand that this is the meaning. Let us look at the meaning in a different way. Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. Dasha means 10. That means one who can go in 10 directions. North, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, up and down. 8 directions and up and down. The z-axis makes it 10. Who is the person who can go in 10 directions? Dasharatha can go in 10 directions. Who else can go in 10 directions? Garuda. Garuda is also known in Sanskrit as Dasha. So who is the one who is the rider of Garuda? Who rides Garuda?
Vishnu, right? Vishnu.
Absolutely. So Dasharatha here means Vishnu. Sumitra is saying Rama is Vishnu. And she says, Mam. The word Ma means Lakshmi. Maha Lakshmi. Mother Lakshmi. That's why in English we also say mother. Ma, mom, Ma is also Lakshmi. Janaka Atmajam. She is the Janaka. She is Janaka also means of the entire world. She is the mother. So who is the mother? Sita Devi is none other than Lakshmi. Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhim. Ayodhya is said in the Shastras that it is none other than the Bhuloka Vaikuntha. So consider the forest as Vaikuntha. Please remember, my son, who are you? You are Anantha Shesha. So please remember, if Vaikuntha is there, if Mother Lakshmi is there, if the rider of Garuda, Lord himself is there, then what is your role? Is Anantha Shesha. Please always render service unto Lord Ramchandra and Sita Devi. This is the beautiful shloka. This is why she was called as a great intelligent personality. And today we will see how did Lakshmana serve Anantha as Lakshmana. How did he serve Lord Ramchandra? And where he showed this breaking of character. In Ramayana, you get these moments when these characters break their play characters of being Lakshman, being Ram, etc. So we will see where he broke this beautiful character. In the Aranya Kanda, in the Sarga 15, after wandering around all the places, Lord Ramchandra says, I want you to build a nice place of residence for me, which is called as, what is the place called as where Lakshmana built the cottage? Any Ramayana followers? This is in Nashik. What is the place called as? In Nashik. This place is there, where they resided. This is not Chitrakoot. This is not Chitrakoot. Panchavati, absolutely correct. This place is called as Panchavati. And in this place, this Panchavati place, he was told to construct. What did he say? Rama is telling, Ramate yatra vaidehi tvamaham chaiva lakshmana tadyasho dashyatam desha sannikrishta jalashayaha vanramanyakam yatra jalaramanyakam tata sannikrishtam chayasmin tu samitta pushpak pusha udakam. He's saying, Lakshmana, go and search out for a place. Find a very nice place. Within the proximity of this place, don't think that I have to live very peacefully. My wife, Vaidehi, who is from the Videha kingdom, she needs to stay very nicely. And when she wants to stay very nicely, please understand, I will be very nicely situated. So where Vaidehi, Sita Devi can stay nicely, I can stay nicely, and you can stay also very nicely. But it should have a place where we can take bath. So a lake should be there. So you see there in the picture behind, there is a great lake. And the water should be not very deep. It should be calm and very pleasurable. Many swans and cuckoos and water birds should be there. But this is not the only requirement. We have to engage in our devotional service. So it should have scenic woodlands. It should be woods. There should be small twigs, which is called samvit, which we can put in yajna. And there should be flowers, which Lakshmi can collect, which Sita Devi can collect, and she can use it in the modern worship. And there should be kusha grass. These are ritualistic paraphernalia, which should be there. Now, this is what is being told to Lakshmana. Go and search a place where you can build such a house, which you think is right, but it should have these conditions. Lakshmana, search out a place and please make one. Now, if we got this instruction, we would immediately go and start searching for a place. But Lakshmana did not do that. Lakshmana first said, stop. What did he say? He said, don't tell me my choice. Don't say, Lakshmana, go and find a place of your choice. I am your servant. And the only thing a person takes as a servant is order. So look at how Sankarshana acts. At no point of time, he allows this false ego to fall on his character, thinking that I am the enjoyer. Now Rama has said, you go and find out a place where you can stay very nicely. So I will make a cottage, 1 BHK for Ram and Sita and 6 BHKs for me. This is not what Lakshman does. Lakshman immediately says, Parvanasmika kutstha tvai varsham shatatam site swayam tu ruchire deshe kriyatam iti mam vada. He says, as Anantha, as Shesha, I am always your servant. I am always dependent upon you. As long as you are there, may it be for innumerable years, I am always your servant. Now, this is the most important learning that we have to learn from Lakshman. If Lord Ram wishes, Lakshman is there standing with folded hands behind. If there are brothers in the house, if there is an elder brother, a younger brother, we should take inspiration like this. A younger brother should always try to serve the elder brother in this way. And why? Because the Manu Shastra says that the elder brother is equivalent to a father. So Lakshmana is seeing as if it is his father's order. And he's saying, for years and years, I am your servant. Parvan asmi kakutsa. Oh, the lineage of Kakutsa, I am always. Tvai varsha shatam site. For many, many years, I am your servant. And I will only do what is the activity of being only doing service unto you. So please don't tell me my choice. Swayam tu ruchire deshe. You tell me where to build the hermitage in such a delightful place. I will go build it. Such a nice way of saying, I am your servant. You please choose. Don't make me choose. But there is an inner meaning to this. He is saying, I am always a servant of the servant. So then, what happens? Then Rama says, okay, fine, I will search it for you. Rama smiles, because for innumerable years, he is actually searching, means for many, many Vaikuntha years, I am your servant. Rama understands, okay, you are Adishesha, you are always rendering service unto me. So then finally Rama chooses a place. Yammaditya Sankasho Padmai Surabhigandhavihi Adurya Darshade Ramya Padmini Padam Shobita. Look at Lord Ramchandra. Rama doesn't say, okay, I like this place, so please choose this. Now he puts wife. This is an ideal husband. The ideal brother says, I don't have a choice. Brother, you decide. The brother being ideal husband says, it is not my choice, it is my wife's choice. Why do we need modern day feminisms when such an ideal husbands are there, ideal men are there, who always out of love give women the first chance? So he says, this pleasing lake which is seen here adjacently, beaming forth with its lotuses, that are similar to sun, this is scented very fragrantly. Now Lakshmana understands what he is saying. The lake is like none other than Vishnu's lake. And he is saying that this has lotuses. Where does Lakshmi sit? You can see the picture. Where does she sit? She sits in Padma or lotus. That is why the famous sloka of Mahalakshmi is Shvetambaradare Devi Nanalankara Bhushite Jagastite Jaganmata Mahalakshmi Namostude Padmasthana Sthite Devi Parabrahma Swarupini. Where does she sit? Padmasthana. Her sthana is on the Padma. So, and the sun is shining through the lotuses. So he is saying the sun is none other than Narayan also. He is seen as Lord Narayan. So I am there. The lotuses are here. So Mother Lakshmi can sit. So make a beautiful cottage here in the heart of the lake. Why? Because in the lotuses, which is situated on the lake, which is like Lord Narayan beaming with the sun, you build the cottage here. Getting such an instruction, Lakshmana immediately started the work. He didn't wait for anything. He quickly started the work. He made a cottage. He leveled the ground. He brought long bamboos. He started plucking out the twines. He started tying them as jute strands and crossed the bamboos, made the rafters, put the kusha grass on top, made it to dry, and he made a very spacious cottage. And when Rama saw this cottage, he said, "What a wonderful cottage. You did not make this cottage thinking about your comfort, Lakshmana. How I wanted, you actually created the cottage. You didn't think that I need this space. If I see, I didn't even explain to you, I need a cottage with a home for some private space with my wife. You actually had made it. You made a puja's altar. You made a cottage. You made which is a veranda where we can sit and enjoy the nature. You made a place where we can do Agni and Homa. You made a place which is cool during the summers and which will keep us warm during the winters. Such great construction and such meticulous construction that he said that there is this special quality amongst you, Lakshmana. One of the most special quality is Bhavagyena Kritagyena Dharmagyena cha Lakshmana Tvaya Putrena Dharmatma Nasamvrita Pitamama. Look at what Lakshmana said. Don't tell me to choose which place I have to construct. You are like my father. Please instruct me. Look at what the elder brother says to the younger brother. Bhavagyena, you know others' inner hearts. Now, how does Lakshmana, who is Anantha, knows the inner hearts? Because he is the one who is controlling the false ego, today's verse. He knows the false ego is in the heart. He knows who can serve the Lord, who cannot serve the Lord. So he is sitting in the heart. He is clearly witnessing this as Sankarshan. So he knows. So Rama is saying, you are Bhavagya. You know others' feelings. And your skills are many. Of course, he is with the 1,000 hoods explaining Srimad Bhagavatam to the Sanat Kumaras and many others. And he is expert in building a cottage. And Dharmagyena, he is very honest. He says, I am not the master, I am a servant. And he is having a very good virtue. And hence he says, I am giving you a hug. And I consider, though my father has departed, just like how a father would take care of his son, you are taking care of me. So today my father has departed, Dasharatha has gone, but Pita Mama, Lakshmana, you are like my father. You are taking care of me. You are the one who are serving me. The Lord, being the elder brother as per Shastras, is called as the father. But look at what Rama says. Actually, he doesn't say Bharata is my father. He says, Lakshmana, you are like my father. Today, I felt that my father has come back from the dead. Na samvritaha. Samvritaha can be read as come back from the dead. Now my father has come back from the dead in your form and you are taking care of me. So this is the quality of Shesha. This is the quality of Anantha, selflessly, egolessly, always bringing the enjoyer and the enjoyed. And we don't have to think that this is all in awe and reverence, and we are in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, so we should be always talking about Madhurya. Though this is awe and reverence, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his visit to the city of Anantha, which is called as Anantapuri. Chaitanya Leela, Madhya Leela, 1, first chapter, 115th verse, he says, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Ananta Purushottama Sri Janardana Padmanabha Vasudeva Kaila Darshana. Srila Prabhupada writes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited the Vishnu temples of Anantadev, Purushottama, Sri Janardana, Padmanabha, and Vasudeva. So Padmanabha is in Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, a temple of Ananta Padmanabha Vishnu, which is now known as the world's richest temple, because they found the wealth in that temple, which is million times more than what we can even estimate. And this temple is very famous in those quarters. Another Vishnu temple, which is 26 kilometers, 26 miles of north, is Varkala Janardhan. It is very next to the temple station. Look at Srila Prabhupada's purport. He even gives you a Google map of where you can find these temples. So this is of Ananta Padmanabha Swami. You can see somewhere like this. And in the next, you can see Janardhan, Varkala Janardhan, which is a photograph. And you see the Lord is holding in his hand a little bit of water. And they say, even today, the archaeological survey says, after passage of every year, the water is going up and up and up. So the Lord, when he does his Achaman, it is considered as the end of Kali Yuga. So this water is slowly trickling from his palm. If you come outside the temple of Varkala Janardhan, where Lord Chaitanya visited, you can see his footprints. And when you come down the stairs, you see this water is trickling into a small stream like water, and it joins into other many water reservoirs. And when you come outside the temple 500 meters away, you see a giant temple pond, which is made from the water which is coming out of the Lord's hand. Till today, nobody knows from where the water comes. It keeps on coming, the stream keeps on going. This is not, my dear friends. The last time I visited this temple in Janardhan, when you walk 1 kilometer from the temple pond, you see the great Arabic Ocean, in which the water from the pond is constantly falling inside the ocean. So from the Lord's lotus hands are the Arabic Ocean created. Such a beautiful temple. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to visit this temple. And this is all in the city of Anantha, called as the Thiruvananthapuram. So finally, while concluding today's verse, we would like to remember that the false ego component of I am the enjoyer, this illusion is driven by Sankarshana, and he exhibits in his pastimes how to constantly serve the Lord. And when people don't serve the Lord and they get overpowered by this false ego, he gets angry. Those are the next verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. But before we close, I have the simple meditation that I penned down. And it is by divine providence that today I am being told to speak this particular verse. And this is something that came to my heart, which I penned down. If it is inaccurate, please excuse me. This is a small poem that I wrote. The beautiful Shesha, the king of serpents, you serve the Lord as a great servant. As an umbrella protected him from the rain, your efforts never go in vain. Taking the cue, he lifted Haridas Varya, which is Govardhan, the mountain. The mountain devotee pass supreme. To receive such mercy is my dream. When will that day be mine? The servant of Haridas Varya be lifted by the divine. So the only thing I would like to say is that there is a comparison here that Anantadev, when Vasudeva was crossing the river of Yamuna, gave the shelter to the baby Krishna who was going towards Vrindavan. So it is just an inspiration that I'm writing that to say that taking that as an umbrella, as an instruction, that how Anantha actually provided the umbrella to Krishna. Later he got the inspiration from Anantha and lifted Govardhan to become the umbrella for the Vrajvasis. So this is just, it is just a poetic representation. But the beauty is, my native place is also Anantapuri. Having served this particular deity of Ananta Padmanabha for more than 14 to 15 years every day. So it is a humble plea unto the Lordships and the Vaishnavas. When this servant of Haridas Varya, though who is from the city of Anantha, on whose inspiration the Lord has actually lifted the Govardhan hill, will get the divine mercy and the shower of mercy. So let's hope and pray to none other than Anantadev to keep the false ego away from our hearts and let him constantly bless us to hear the beautiful narrations of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yadastras kinchit vidvamsat purayantu tat yadastat saustubam kinchit tad guror eva menehi. In this rendition, if there were mistakes, wrongs, and incorrect renditions, shastrically incorrect, poetically incorrectness, they all belong to me. And you're all Vidwans, Panditas, please feel free to correct them. And if you found anything nice in this particular lecture or rendition, then those glories go to Srila Prabhupada and my Gurujanas. So with that, we come to an end of today's lecture. If there are any questions, comments, clarifications, feedbacks, mistakes, please feel free to share. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful class as always and very interactive class. We always feel like to be more attentive what question you're going to ask. We wanted to answer. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for detailed explanation. I don't have any questions. I open the forum for question answers. Is there anybody having any questions, realizations? Please raise your hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
I was wondering if you could review that portion where you're talking about the intelligence of Sumitra, where she was telling Lakshman, I think. Was it Lakshman she was telling that you should see me as this person, you should see Lord Ram as, this portion. I wasn't able to follow this well.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you could review that.
Yeah, let me go. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, let me go to that portion. Yes. So in this verse, what Sumitra says is, Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. He says, consider Rama as Dasharatha. And Janaka Atmajam, the soul of Janaka, who is none other than Mother Sita, as myself. That means he's saying, don't think that you are going away from mother and father. From today, your father is Rama, your mother is Sita. Because the children are going away for 14 years to the forest. So as a mother, she is giving very pleasant words saying, father is Rama, mother is Sita. And the forest that you would see is none other than Ayodhya. So, and hence, please go and serve. So this is one meaning. The other meaning is...
Okay, wait, before you go to next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, you were also saying that I think you're saying the life of Janak, right?
Yeah, the life and soul of Janak is Mother Sita, yeah.
Okay, so if Lakshman was to see Sita as mother, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why in this context you were making this connection that she is the life of Janak? You know?
I understand. So for a father, so she's speaking in two ways. She is speaking in the third party perspective. So Sumitra is saying Rama is like Dasharatha. So she has to compare one person with another. So she's saying consider Dasharatha as Rama. You know other personality? Who is the father? Janaka. Janaka's life and soul, who is the daughter? Generally, a father's life and soul is the daughter. It is called Janaka Atmajam, or Atmajam in Sanskrit is a father's life and soul. Who is the father's life and soul? Either a son or a daughter. So Janaka's life and soul is Janaki or Mother Sita. Consider her. So this is a third party reference of calling Sita. We call Janaki, we call Kausalya Nandan, we call Rohini Nandan. We call these names to the Lord who is through the connection of somebody. So she is saying that personality who is the life and soul of Janaka, consider that person, Mother Sita, as your mother. So is that clear?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So now, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So now you're going to mention a second point, right?
Yeah, the second meaning. The second meaning is Dasharatha also means one who is the rider of the vehicle which can go in 10 directions. Which is that vehicle? Garuda. Dasha is also called for Garuda. So Dasharathi, one who rides Garuda, that is Vishnu. So while you can play it on the Ayodhya plane, on the plane of Ramayana, you can consider the characters as Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, and the forest. She is giving an inner, deeper layer of meaning to say, consider Rama as Vishnu. If you see it as Dasharatha, he can be the son of Dasharatha. But if you see it as the rider of Garuda, he can be Lord Vishnu himself. Mam can be seen as Janaka's daughter, at the same time, mother of all the Janas, all the living entities, as Mother Lakshmi. Ayodhya in the scriptures is mentioned as the supreme transcendental Vaikuntha or the sacred forest. So hence it can be also seen as Vaikuntha. So when you have the setting as Vishnu is there, Lakshmi is there, Vaikuntha is there, what are you waiting for? Gachatata, please go and serve. What is your role as Anantha Shish? Does that explain, Mataji?
Yeah, so the first one, Sumitra is advising her son to serve, Sita and Ram as mother, father.
Yes.
Forest. And second level, she's saying see Sita Ram as Vishnu and Lakshmi.
Yes.
And forest is Vaikuntha. Yes. So just one more follow-up is that when she was advising him to see him as Vishnu, the one more time, the Gerudo connection.
Yeah.
How did the Gerudo connection come in? Yeah.
When you use this particular, I'm pointing my laser out, Dasharatham. Dasharatham means one who rides in 10 directions. So Garuda is called as Dasha in Sanskrit, and he can ride in all the 10 directions. He can go north, west, east, south, because he has wings. He can ride in all directions. So while Dasha, he is the vehicle which can ride. One who rides such a vehicle, Dasharatha means one who rides such a vehicle. That person is Vishnu. Vishnu is the rider of the carrier called as Garuda. So in that way, she is mentioning Rama is none other than Vishnu, who rides the carrier Garuda, which can fly in all 10 directions.
But because it's being called Dasharatham, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a connection being made to Dasharath.
Yes. This is the word which is being made as a comparison between Dasharatha, the king, and also similarly Dasharatha, Garuda, and Vishnu. This is the beauty of Sanskrit. You can have one word but multiple meanings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Prabhu. One last thing, a different subject is can you explain, because I know somebody named Padmanabha, I was just curious to know more about this personality, Padmanabha. I don't know anything about Padmanabha.
Okay. So here the mention of Padmanabha is the deity called as Anantha Padmanabha. So in Trivandrum, if you go to the southern part of India, there is a place called as Kerala, which is also called in the Shastras as Parashurama Kshetra. In that, the capital of the state, Kerala, is Trivandrum, though it is called as Thiruvananthapuram. Thiru means auspicious, Anantha means the serpent lord Anantadev, on whom we spoke today. Puram means Pura or city. The auspicious city of Anantha is called as Thiruvananthapuram. So this is the name of the city. In that city, the primary deity who is lying down in 18 feet is Padmanabha. The deity who is lying down on Anantha is Padmanabha. That is the deity that you can see here. I can showcase this picture. And he is called Padmanabha because from the Nabha means navel comes a lotus on which Brahma is sitting. So he is the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He is known as Padmanabha. So to see this deity, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and entered the temple and saw the deities.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so this Padmanabha is actually, like you said,
he is the richest lord by material wealth. He is the richest lord declared in the entire world right now.
But he is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And you said that he is the richest lord in terms of, I mean, the Lord. You mean on this earth planet?
On this earth planet, yes. And there is a complete story behind it. It's a very brilliant pastime which happened, but that we can keep it for another day. Actually, there were 6 vault or lockers that they found, which has wealth, which is amassed over centuries by the Kingsley Can, because this temple does not belong to any state, any trust. It belongs to the King of Travancore. And it is his personal altar. This temple is situated in 7 acres. And every day, even today at 8:45 a.m. in the morning, the king comes to take darshan. And if he doesn't do so, he has to pay a fine. Not only him, all his family members have to pay a fine towards the Lord that I didn't come to see you. So it's like a Mangalarti fine if you don't come. So they are very devout Travancore temple, and it is the king's temple. And so they found these lockers where these wealth was found of gold and 72 karat gold and 84 karat gold. The world has not seen such riches given by other kings in Portugal, in Rome, and all these places, by Chinese travelers and many others. And if you look at the antique value of those particular items, which are paraphernalias of the Lord, it surpasses Tirupati, which is considered as one of the richest temples, at least by 10 to 15 times.
And these treasures are kept in lockers at this
Still, yes, they are protected by lockers and they are Lord's paraphernalia. So they are kept. But these are not displayed as of now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. It's another day's story of how they found the riches, why the Lord wanted to display the riches. I would request, because we are talking about glories of Anantha, I would be more than happy to share about one day, only about the magnificence of this temple and the greatness of this temple, all as a reciprocation of the Lord towards one sincere devotee who was not in the 14th and the 15th century, who was in 2010, 2011.
Oh, wow. What a teaser.
Yeah, it's a teaser. So this spiritual science is always a teaser for what's installed.
Oh, yes, waiting for that story, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danut pranams. Thank you so much for taking us. I don't know what words, we don't have words. So it was so elevating and listening to your class. And also, I recently, I don't know, I think around it should be 7 or 8 years ago, there was a Sankirtan going on, and the Lord himself came and played Mridanga. That was
there are many pastimes of this temple. One of the favorite pastimes of mine, which luckily I could witness, is with His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj in 2000s, when we went to install, Maharaj came with an entourage to install Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's footprints in the temple. Initially, they said, we don't know who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. He doesn't seem to be God. Why would you install somebody's footprints inside the temple precincts? And then we had to go and show all these verses, the verses that today I showed you. The king accepted, and many others said, he's just a saint, he's not the God himself. Then we had to present proof that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord himself. And finally, the king accepted this particular proposal, and His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj and His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj bought the footprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and installed them. The beauty was the very nice realization which His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj gave at that point of time. The king was sitting on his right, and I can share you the YouTube link. You can go and see the video. I am not making this up. And there you can see the age-old vintage video of this particular installation, which happened in 2000s. The king was sitting on the right. Bhanu Maharaj and His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj were sitting on the pedestal. And Jayapataka Maharaj gave the gift of Srimad Bhagavatam to the king of Travancore. And the king did not think of getting a present to give in return. Dadati pratignati, that is how devotees are. You give a gift, you give a gift back. So the king called his servant who came running, and he said something in his ears. And after 5 minutes, the servant went up onto the top of the temple and got a gift and gave it to His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. And when Jayapataka Maharaj opened the gift, he was literally in tears. It was the flagstaff of Anantha Padmanabha Swami's temple, the flag which had the emblem of Hanuman, Garuda, and Chakra. And Jayapataka Maharaj said, maybe because of this particular instance, Srila Prabhupada named me Jaya Pataka, all glories to the victory flag. And look at the divine providence. The king gave Jaya Pataka to His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, who installed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's footprints.
Hari Bol. I was there, Prabhuji.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah,
Very nice.
I think it was in 1999 or 2000.
99, 2000. Yes, we have still that old vintage. If anybody wants to see, I can share it in the group. They can go and see that moment when His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj mentions about this. It was very nice to see.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for bringing back that nostalgic moment. And it was so nice. Like we were all clapping, and then we could see the exchange of gifts and the victory flag. Yeah, I would just like to read something that I just penned by your inspiration. A lecture or an universal tour. We saw Anantha Loka, Kadru and Vinata, Anantha and Garuda, Panchavati and Lakshmana, instruction of Sumitra, heart of Lord Rama, Anantha Padmanabha and Janardana of Varkala, and the poem of Haridas Varya. This is truly a Tirtha Yatra, purifying and elevating. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your kind words. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Janas. See, Sureshwar Ram Prabhu, you've got your hand up.
I don't know how
Yes,
to.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice class, Prabhu. Very nice class. Thank you, Prabhu.
Shyam Prabhu, 1 second. Komodiki Mataji is also speaking. Komodiki Mataji, do you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to ask about the flag. Yes, Jai Pataka. So where is it kept now?
Maharaj, what he did is he announced that, I think it is in his possession. He would not let it go. But for one full year, he used to travel in sumo car back then. For one full year, it was fluttering on top of his safari car. Wherever he would go, this flag would be fluttering.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Yeah. Talk about the swag of the flag.
Yes.
That's very wonderful. All glories to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Yes, Suresh.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very nice class.
Nice class, Prabhu.
Yeah. So my question actually got resolved.
Yeah, I have. You have explained very nicely. And okay, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Shyam Prabhu, go ahead.
Yes. So, Prabhu, my question, you said Balaram appeared as Varahadev, right? So, we say Lord Vishnu appeared as Varahadev, right? Krishna appeared as Varahadev. So, why specifically this avatar you are saying, Balaram appeared as Varahadev, Prabhu?
No, I didn't say Balaram appeared as Varahadev. He assisted Varaha. So let me just give me a second. I'll show you how he appeared. And I'll show you the Lord as well. Let me just give me a second. This is a very beautiful temple called as Tiruvidandai. If some devotees have chance, they should go and see this Lord. It's very beautiful. And I'll show you. Yeah, let me share my screen. Can you? Okay. Can you see this photograph, which is, this is the temple. And can you see this Lord here?
Yes, Prabhu.
And if you zoom in, you see Anantha here. And when Varaha came, he keeps him as the footstool. And then he lifts Lakshmi Devi. Can you see him
Prabhuji,
down?
who is next to Anantha there? The Anantha's wife?
No, this is Bhuma Devi and Sri Devi, both are there of the Lord. And this temple, and this is a very good question, Mataji, that you asked. Now, this is another pastime, but I don't want to take the pastime. This temple is called as the Nitya Kalyana Perumal temple. That means in this temple, the Lord marries 365 days. So even if you see multiple personalities, the Lord marries 365 daughters of a sage. And it is said anybody who offers a garland to the Lord who is having difficulties of marrying or finding a match, he never fails in his promise. They will get married the next very year. So he's called as the Lord who always marries 365 days continuously. And so I said that he doesn't come as Balram, he assists Lord Varaha in this matter. And we can see that in this temple, which is one of the 108 Vaishnavite temples.
Okay. So good, Prabhu. You showed with a picture. It is more clear. Thank you.
Okay.
So did Mahaprabhu visit that temple also, Prabhu?
No, not that we could find. He moved, as per Chaitanya, he moved to Anantha Padmanabha, Varkala. Then he went and retrieved the Brahma Samhita. And then he went to Payaswani River, and many others went to Udupi. And like that, he proceeded to meet Madhvacharya. He met Adi Shankara's place, and then he went to Madhvacharya and Udupi. That's the trail that he took. Doesn't say he went to Mahabalipuram.
So which temple you showed, Prabhu? Sorry, I didn't get that part. Which temple did you?
This temple is called as Tirukudandai. That is the Tamil name. I can type it here on the chat. So now COVID is over. Anybody who is traveling should go and find out these hidden gems which are there.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for that clarification. So one question I had, this one. One question. Yeah, so it's means Anantha and Shesha are different, right? I heard like Anantha and Shesha are different, right? But we synonymously use those. Is that right?
No, synonymously in the sense that this principle is called Sheshatvam. Sheshatvam, or this principle is called as for whom always a service is rendered. One who has come into this world always to render service to that person, who is called Sheshi. That means the Lord is the Sheshi, and Shesha means always renders service. That is called Shesha. So who is that personality who always renders service? He is rendering service by constantly speaking about the Lord and giving enjoyment to devotees. He comes whenever there is avatars of the Lord. He comes and serves him as Lakshmana, Balram, etc. And at the same time, he serves him as the couch, as the pillow, as the bed, as the umbrella, as the shoe, etc., etc. So in this form, one who is always serving, so he is anyway attached as Shesha, right? So he is Shesha, and one who is in the form of Anantha, so he is called Anantha Shesha.
Okay. Thank you.
The chakra also is a Shesha in terms of always engaging in service. The Kaumodiki is also Shesha. But one who is named Anantha, who is performing the service of Shesha, is called Anantha Shesha.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dhanwad, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Actually, I also had and from long back, I had the same question, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't really catch this. I really couldn't catch the this distinction between Anantha and Shesha. I don't know if you mind repeating just one more time.
Yeah, so Shesha so there are, I need to see if Shesha also means serpent. Sometimes in Sanskrit you have Shesha also as serpent, but the concept is Shesha means one who is left to always render service to that personality, who always takes service and gives enjoyment. So the Lord is the person who always gives service and who always takes service, and the devotees of the Lord, like Anantha, like Garuda, like Chakra, like Kaumodiki, like Saranga, all these weapons of the Lord, Shanka, Panchajanya, they always render service, always, to the Lord.
Yeah.
So hence they are called Shesha. But Ananta Shesh means one who is having the name Ananta, right? Unlimited. One who always sings the glories of the Lord unlimitedly and executes this service to the Lord is called Ananta Shesh.
Okay, so therefore, Ananta Shesha can also be simply called Shesha, right?
Yeah.
Or,
It's like there is a president, that's the role, and there is a name of the president, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So one is like Indra. Indra is a post.
Yes.
Indra is not the name. Indra is the post. Like Yama. Yama is the post. Aryaman might be the name of the Yama. So like that, Shesha is the activity or the role. Ananta Shesha, when you say the name of Ananta, the person doing the activity of Shesha.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu. And also Ananta Shesh, can we say that Anantha Shesh is synonymous with Sheshanag? I know you mentioned this in your lecture also.
Yeah, Nag. Nag means serpent.
Yes.
That serpent which performs the activity of Sheshanag.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, is there any more questions for Prabhuji? If there are no more questions and realizations, we can close the call for today. Once again, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your valuable time and association this morning. We are very fortunate to have you on the call. And I would like to close the call for today. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva patkanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantha Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Haridas Varya Prabhu ji ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Thank you for all your
Thank you,
association.
Pravat Pranam.
Thank you,
Krishna
Mataji.
Prabhu,
Lalita
Dandavat
Mataji,
pranam. Hare
Deepabandhu
Krishna
Prabhu,
Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you everyone for joining today's class.